Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great today. Okay, so barely 48 hours ago, a very high profile military game played out in Russia. It held the whole world spellbound. I mean, the news was literally everywhere. The news media had nothing else in the world to cover. I mean, I saw all kinds of permutations. I saw all kinds of suggestions. I saw all kinds of reports regarding what was going on. A lot of it was just mere fantasies. A lot of it came across as just illusions, things that were too unreal, too far removed from reality. You can tell that a lot of people were just writing things that they felt or hoped could be real, but no, would never be real at all. That's the only way I can explain some of the things that I saw. I mean, I saw someone who sent something to me and said, hey, do you know they said Putin has just fled St. Petersburg. He's now on the run. Prigozhin is about to become the next president of Russia. I saw people who said, do you know that Putin has been overthrown? Do you know that there's, I mean, like, how more infantile can any suggestion be? So when I started saying those things, I looked across social media platforms. Everybody was talking about the situation in Russia, and nearly all the people talking, nearly all of them had absolutely no clue what was going on, no clue what Russia has the ability to do, no clue what kind of power and capacity Putin and Russia has. And they just kept regurgitating what I would respectfully call trash that the mainstream media was dishing out to the unlearned, to the uneducated on these issues. When I made my first post, because when it all started unfolding, as someone who has followed the whole Russia-Ukraine war for a long time and who has reported on it for quite some time, I knew that professionally I'm not supposed to jump in and begin to comment or make suggestions like others when such a high-profile military movement or situation is active or is unfolding. If you know your onions, you should know that you don't just jump in and start talking like every other person or with every other person. So what I did was, I was quiet. I didn't say anything. Everybody was expecting me to write something because people basically know me as the Russia-Ukraine war guy. You know, they expect me to write something. I didn't write anything on the situation. What I did was, I focused on other things. And when I eventually decided to write, I just came and wrote what I believe a lot of people were saying. Some people are saying it's this one says that, this one says it's that. Some people say it's the 6.8 billion that was mistakenly overpaid from Washington. Some people say it's this, or that Prigozhin has been bought over, all kinds of stuff. I know people will be thinking, okay, after saying all this now, what do you think? And I ended that tweet by saying, well, I will tell you what I think is going on, but not just yet. I said it in that tweet. Because obviously it was too early. I know what I thought was going on. And I think I was right by thinking what I was thinking, because eventually that is what I believe has just happened. But I couldn't say it at the time because professionally I was supposed to relax and allow the thing play out so you can see where the dots are connected before you start making suggestions. People literally believed that the head of the Wagner PMC, Prigozhin, was about to overthrow Putin and take over. And the West cheered like there's no tomorrow. The West was cheering. It was like, finally, we got him. We got him. That bastard, we got him finally. He's about to be done with. And the question I have for you who follow the mainstream media, or you who is on the mainstream media saying all these things. I mean, my expectations from mainstream media has been lowered many years back. I don't have any expectations at all. It's been lowered to probably -0. I don't have a single expectation of professionalism, decency, or anything from them. No, I don't, just for people who do. But my question to those of you on that mainstream media, what does it take for you to read? Or is it that you know that you just willfully and intentionally lie to the people, deceive the people through propaganda just because you're puppet masters insisted that you do that? That's what we already know. But it's a shame that people would think that Prigozhin, who was created by Putin himself, around about 2014, that was when PMC Wagner actually came into being. Wagner PMC is a private military contractor, PMC, Wagner PMC, that helped the breakaway regions in Ukraine, Donbass, Lugansk, in 2014 to fight for their independence after a lawfully and legally elected president who was pro-Russian, Yanukovych, was ousted in what Russians regard as a coup d'etat orchestrated by the West. That was why Crimea was annexed. Wagner PMC was instrumental to that annexation of Crimea, and they have been helping Lugansk and Donbass even before Russia decided to come into Ukraine for their special military operation in February of 2022. So, the PMC Wagner is barely 10 years old, created by Putin himself. The founding leader of PMC Wagner is not even Prigozhin. Prigozhin is a businessman. He took over, I believe, from the founding leader of PMC Wagner. But the man who created PMC Wagner, all of his leadership and everything that he has, is Putin. It's his creation. And Wagner has grown to become very powerful. Not just fighting in the Baltics, but also in Africa. I've talked about the exploits in Africa several times. Central African Republic, Mali, even Burkina Faso lately. And now they are alleged to also be in Sudan fighting. That's Wagner PMC. 25,000 fighting men, most of them ex-convicts, as at this moment, and a bunch of weapons, yeah? And for some reason, you feel that with an army of 25, let's say there are even 50,000, that it's possible for Putin's creation, like Prigozhin, to move those men and go to a march on Moscow and take over power from Putin. So the power that Putin has is just, it's the same thing as the power that a bank manager has, and he's sitting in the bank, he comes to work every day. So that's the level you brought one of the most powerful men on earth. That's the level you reduce him to. That's the level you reduced Russia to. Russia is the largest country on earth, the largest country in the whole world. Russia occupies about 11% of the whole landmass of all the universe. See, this world you live in, more than 10% of it, if you divide this whole world into 10, more than 10% it's what you call Russia. That's how large, that's how massive this country is. And that's how big their military is. At least 1 million active personnel. Russian military. They have at least 1 million or more active personnel. Fighting men. Don't talk about the weapons. Nuclear arsenals, they have far more nuclear warheads than the United States of America. And both Russia and America have over 80% of the whole world's nuclear stockpile. And Russia has more than the United States of America. Russia manufactures tanks and delivers almost on 24-hour basis, hundreds of them. There's no type of military weapon they don't manufacture. Russia has suffered sanctions more than any other nation on earth. And today, Russia is still waxing strong. Russia has been fighting with the whole collective West. NATO, Ukrainian forces, American forces, all manner of people. The whole alliance in Ukraine for more than a year. Initially, in 2022, they said, oh, Russia is going to soon run away because their weapons are depleted. They don't have anything anymore. And all of a sudden, the story changed. Oh, we don't know where they're getting the weapons. Or maybe China is secretly giving them weapons. Or maybe those ones. And China said, we don't give them weapons. These people actually teach us. We learn from them militarily. We're not giving them any weapons. Stop deluding yourselves. You are belittling a world power. And that same attitude of belittling a world power that you should be careful with is what has made the West and their propaganda machinery in the media to think that Prigozhin with 25,000 fighting men would just march on Moscow, oust Putin, and that would just make Putin run away. Putin was a KGB official. KGB is the equivalence of America's CIA. So when you talk about intelligence information, when you talk about all the secrets of the state, not just the state, but the secrets of the nations of Europe, of the former Soviet republics, of the whole world, who else has more information than Putin? He wasn't just a regular politician. This man was an intelligence officer par excellence, and he left and moved into politics. And I know the reason he went into politics was to preserve the destiny and the integrity of his nation, of the motherland, the territorial integrity of the motherland. He didn't just go in there because he was a power-hungry guy. It was a very strategic move for him to move from a lieutenant in the KGB and migrate straight, transitioning to being a politician. That's the man, that Prigozhin, a businessman, who came into prominence just yesterday through something that Putin himself created. That's the man you people thought would march on Moscow and oust Putin, and Putin would disappear. You didn't think of all these other dynamics. You didn't think of all the allies that Putin has in the Baltic states. You didn't think of the ones in South America. You didn't think of Africa. You didn't think of, so out of, even in the Arab world. So all of them are just going to stay quiet. Let's even say that Russia suddenly just diminished overnight to a point that Prigozhin can walk into Russia, march on Moscow, and oust Putin and take over all the military installations in Russia? Let's say that even happens. What do you think Russian allies are supposed to do? Stay quiet and do nothing. I have never in my life. That's why I keep saying that this is an interesting time. I've never seen people so deluded in my life. I never for once thought that this was real. Today, everything that I feared was going on is what is happening. I can tell you that for sure. I can tell you. When that thing was happening, I said to myself, this is a chess game. Somebody was writing, he said there's a reason why chess grandmasters always come from Russia. They are masters in 5D chess. Don't play with Russians. Not to talk of when the grandmaster himself is in power. Okay, in order to help you understand what I believe has happened, let's look at a few details. Let me see what you think about these details, if it makes sense. So, Prigozhin was moving from Rostov, and they were marching, moving forward. They want to get to Moscow. They said, oh, we're 200 kilometers away from Moscow. And then all of a sudden, you get a call from Lukashenko of Belarus. One call, and all of a sudden, such a massive operation that has attracted the global media and held the whole world spellbound. Such a massive operation as going to remove one of the strongest men in the world. Such a massive operation as taking over the largest nation on earth and replacing its leader with your own choice of a leader, Prigozhin, which the West believed. Such an operation suddenly ended with just one phone call. First red flag. And not only that it ended with that phone call, Prigozhin then said that they are now surrendering all to the supreme leader. They are surrendering. I wish I can remember exactly how he put it. Now, he said, we surrender and put our fortunes at the disposal of Vladimir Putin. Instantly, immediately, his forces agreed to go back. Whatever the discussion was with Lukashenko of Belarus, it didn't take anything. No resistance, nothing. Instantly, they were on their way back. Number two, no criminal charges against Prigozhin, a man who carried out mutiny, rebellion of historic proportions. How can you just walk away like that? And there are no criminal charges. Only a slap on the wrist and an offer of relocation from Russia to Belarus. Surprise. And then the Wagner guys that remain would join the Russian Armed Forces, the Russian Federation Armed Forces, and the others would move to wherever they may. Yeah? And you bet they're moving with Prigozhin. Wagner PMC head. Wagner has not been disbanded. It is still active. Why is the head of Wagner, with just one phone call, heading over to Belarus, to a place where they are now going to be 100 kilometers away from Kiev, Ukraine? They claimed they were 200 kilometers from Moscow, and the whole West was dancing and praying for them to just storm Moscow and oust Putin. But now, with what we are seeing, Prigozhin is closer to Kiev than ever before the whole drama. As we speak right now, Wall Street Journal has just confirmed. They claim that Putin knew that Prigozhin was going to do this at least 24 hours before it happened. And I'm quoting them. So let's say it is true. Why do you think Putin didn't do anything? Is Prigozhin too powerful, too strong? Prigozhin doesn't have air force. They don't have anything. Russia has air force. Russia has ships, warships. Russia has... The guy does not stand any chance. If Russia decides to unleash on that guy, he will disappear like a mist in the air. This is reality, not the illusory phantasmagoria that I witness people exuding with during that period. So, why did Putin not act? Why didn't he do something? That's another powerful question. We hear right now that British generals are saying they are very concerned after the scale has fallen off their eyes. They are suddenly saying, you can look it up, that, hey, we're worried. The way there has been a lot of massive movement of military, of Wagner PMC fighters around and closer to Ukraine. Why? If something is not done, this guy being closer to Ukraine is very dangerous. It could spell doom for Kiev. So maybe Russia's next step of overrunning Kiev, these may be the guys who are going to do the job. And not only the British generals, the head of the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence is also speaking, and some other high-profile military officers are speaking in Ukraine. That why is it that Wagner PMC fighters are moving too close to us in Kiev? What is going on? Are you catching the drift yet? You're waking up little by little? Maybe. And someone now said, but come on now, this doesn't make sense. If they wanted to move troops, did he have to take all of this drama for them to? They could have just moved troops. They could have just died. They could have just done that. But you don't know that because of the position that Belarus occupies in this whole war, Belarus is in support of Russia, but they are also being diplomatically intelligent about everything they do. They have a pact they signed with Russia. They keep into that. But there are certain things they cannot do in the open, if you understand. Imagine if without something like this, they hear the whole world just suddenly sees breaking news. Belarusian president has now accepted Wagner PMC head in his country, and they are now there operating and attacking Ukraine from there. You can imagine what that would be. But today, the world was even heaving a sigh of relief when the man came in as a peacemaker and invited him over. And as I speak to you, just about a few hours ago, Prigozhin's flight, private jet, has just flown. As I talk to you now, I believe Prigozhin is already in Belarus. And the troop movement that people are reporting on the other side is like something that no one has ever seen before. What is going on that within just this 24 hours of military game, troops have been moved into all kinds of crazy positions, especially Wagner PMC fighters? What kind of magic is this? By the so-called deal they signed with Wagner, they said, Wagner, you stay away from Russia. You focus on Ukraine and Africa. So Wagner was not disbanded. Do you get an idea of what is happening now? Wagner was not disbanded. And now here is the biggest danger. As all of these are happening, Ukrainian intelligence officers are now raising alarm, saying that Russia is planning to blow up a nuclear plant that is as huge, as big as Chernobyl in the Zaporizhia region. Now, how do you believe this? What if this is going to be a red flag? What if it is counterintelligence information? Or what if it is real? Whichever way you look at it, whether it is real, whether it is fake, whether it is counterintelligence, the way they are dropping the information, they are saying that this thing is imminent means that it is going to happen. Like when it is imminent, it means that it must happen, that it's just a matter of time, that they're very close to it and it's going to happen very soon. Do you know what that means? We are descending into a nuclear war immediately that happens. The same nuclear war we'll be running away from. Could it be that Russia got an intelligence information that this is about to degenerate to this? And this was staged so that movements could happen to protect the motherland and to also face the enemy headlong. Wagner in Belarus is a real bad news for Ukraine, for Poland, and the rest of those guys. Prigozhin just surrendered and handed over to Putin. And no criminal charges. Nothing. Do you not see that something had just taken place? You see why we should take our time sometimes before we jump into conclusion. Do a little bit of research and understand what is happening. But whatever the situation, I want you to know that this war between Russia and Ukraine has entered into a massive red zone. What you see happen with Prigozhin, the story of it is going to keep unfolding for the next 1 week or 2 or 3 or more. We're going to keep getting the truth. The truth will keep coming out. But I've just given you a massive clue. And you can never go wrong with the clue that I've just given you. Forget about all that story of, oh, he was bought over. You follow the clue I gave you and follow. As the days come by, you will see how everything will connect to what I have just told you. We need to pray. We need to pray. I hate to say this, but the die is cast. This thing is about to get to the next level, and I don't think it's going to do anybody any good. May God help all of us. God bless you.